Hello and welcome to the Lou Review Podcast. I'm your host, Rosa Hart, and joining me today is my neighbor of a sort, Jonathan Klunk. Thank you so much for being with me here today.
Thank you for having me.
So here on the Lou Review, we celebrate the people and the places that make Louisville and the region unlike anywhere else. Today's episode has a little, or maybe a lot, of history, definitely some real estate, and a whole lot of fried chicken legacy in store. So he's licking his fingers in case you're not watching this episode. So before Colonel Harland Sanders was a global icon, he was a Kentuckian. He and his wife Claudia lived just up the road from my house here in Shelbyville at Blackwood Hall, where franchise owners from around the world came to learn hospitality straight from the source. Now, for the first time, nearly 100 of the Colonel's personal artifacts, from handwritten recipes to his engraved pressure cooker, are heading to auction on July 28, right on the property where he lived and worked. And my guest, Jonathan, is helping to make that happen. So, Jonathan, tell us a little bit about how you got into this, because this is quite the to-do.
Yes, we've been involved with this project for over 5 years. Myself and Morgan Hancock, who was my original co-listing agent when we first brought the property to market in a more traditional manner several years ago. And over the years, because of all the memorabilia that they have and the history of the property, so much of it has remained untouched since the Colonel and Claudia lived there that we have gone down so many rabbit holes. And I never fancied myself a historian, but this really lit a fire under me to appreciate history so much. I mean, I live in old Louisville. My house is 150 years old this year, and I just love historic things now and digging into them. And this has been the journey of a lifetime. And I know that there are many more journeys to come beyond this. So it's exciting that this is paving the road for that.
So, for listeners who don't know the backstory, who are the Settles and how did this family end up preserving the Colonel's personal world for over 50 years? That's a big undertaking.
It is. And they were hand selected by the Colonel.
It's
So
not his family.
it is not his family. His family was not the chosen party to do so for reasons unknown to all of us. However, we know that the Colonel was a businessman. He was smart. And, I think he also gives a lot of us hope because he didn't start KFC until he was 65 years old. When most people start collecting Social Security, he was starting Kentucky Fried Chicken to become what it is today. So the reason I believe that he wanted to go a different direction with the baby that is now Claudia Sanders Dinner House is because he sold Kentucky Fried Chicken. I believe it was 1965. I might get some of my dates wrong by about 2 to 3 years, and that's because I don't do public dates and I don't do public math, for that very reason. But around 1965.
To the nearest 5 in years. That works for me too. It's all good.
We don't have to have exact numbers. You can Google it.
Mhm.
Around 1965, he sold KFC for $2 million. 5 years after that, it was sold for $285 million. And as you can imagine, that left a very bad taste in his mouth.
Mm.
It was a contractual agreement. He absolutely agreed to it. But in the back of your mind, you have to think, did I have the right people involved in this to help me make these decisions? So, Blackwood Hall, as you mentioned, his residence of 25 years, which is on Shelbyville Road, it's in the parking lot, technically, of Claudia Sanders Dinner House today. That was his primary residence, his and Claudia's, for 25 years. In fact, it was technically the first headquarters of Kentucky Fried Chicken because they would package their secret 11 herbs and spices and send them out on the Shelbyville Railroad to all of their franchise owners at the time around the country. As they continued to grow, they have 3 acres there. They built a building behind their house and moved the headquarters to that building. Following the first sale that I mentioned, the modest $2 million sale, the building sat vacant. So, over time and through many lawsuits, claims of defamation, claims of using his own name for different things, which he's not allowed to do. Imagine you sell the rights to use your name. He can't say the
Yeah.
colonel and things that he's doing for marketing. I mean, I would die. But people weren't around to review contracts and they don't think about them the way that we do these days. It was a very different time. He decided to turn this into a restaurant and one to honor his wife. So that became Claudia Sanders Dinner House. So you have his primary residence in the parking lot, you have the restaurant in the background, and that is essentially the campus that we are selling today. He met Cherry Settle, that is our client today, while she was an employee of Kentucky Fried Chicken, the corporation. She used to travel the country, all 50 states, including Hawaii and Alaska, teaching franchise owners and all of the employees about basic hygiene, about hospitality, about how to operate inside of the restaurant. Just so happens, KFC was having their international conference down at the Fontainebleau Hotel in
Mhm.
Miami one year, and Cherry had to do this presentation several times per day. And every time she looked down, the colonel was in the front row watching her. He was mesmerized. And so they created this friendship. And shortly after that, Cherry and her then fiance decided, you know what? We want to buy this KFC franchise in Virginia. We have the ambition, but we don't have the money. Why don't we go and talk to the colonel and see if he will loan the money to us? So they approached the colonel and they asked him for a loan. And he said, you don't want that restaurant. You want my restaurant. Come, let me show it to you. So they had no idea that this place existed, but they went to Shelbyville, Kentucky, and they, I guess, interviewed for this position for several months and followed his tutelage. And he said, I think that you're ready. I think this is your place. So he loaned them the money to purchase the business and to purchase the house
From himself.
from himself.
What?
And in 1975, the day that he was moving out of Blackwood Hall, because actually he bought a house in Hurstbourne, they were moving, Cherry and Tommy, they were moving into the house. And the rest really is history. I mean, the colonel became part of their family. We have wonderful pictures of the colonel walked Cherry down the aisle at her wedding because her father
Gosh.
passed when she was young. 2 months after they moved into the house, her first child, Tommy Jr., was born. And we have pictures of the colonel at his 5-year-old birthday party wearing a party hat and sitting down because he loved kids. It's a wild story and a beautiful friendship and relationship that lasted until the colonel and Claudia had both passed, which was decades apart. And they've ran it ever since. 53 years now, much longer than the colonel ever ran this particular restaurant or was involved in Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's incredible. I didn't know all that. That's so does that mean that I guess was it a better financial deal for them that way because if he had bequeathed it to them, they'd have like estate tax and stuff like that. Whereas if they like purchase it from him, that's not an
Well,
issue.
I think a lot of that would have to come down to speculation. And I think historically, a lot of that is because the human brain likes to connect pieces where we don't have answers to that. And we're always asking questions. Even pieces of the memorabilia that we have in the auction, we're asking questions about and trying to figure out, what was his intent or purpose of all of these things. But no, I think that, the colonel had a great phrase. It said that a man will rust out before he will tire out. And he never stopped working. I mean, even after he sold KFC and even after they had lawsuits going back and forth, he was still on their payroll. We actually have pay stubs with that have his social security number on it. That's the part of the
What?
history that I love. Uh-huh.
My goodness.
And he would travel 250 plus days a year, not just around the United States, but the globe promoting Kentucky Fried Chicken and also the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And that's one of the reasons today that anywhere that we travel, if we're in France or Spain or South America and people ask where we're from and you say Kentucky, they know exactly where it is. Well, at least
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
because of that one very reason. And that is because of, in large part, the groundwork that he laid during this time. I mean, if we want to reverse history for a minute, roll it all the way back, if he hadn't done all of this, would KFC be where it is today? Would it, be bigger than McDonald's or on level playing field at least? Right now, they're opening one new KFC every 4 hours. I saw
Really?
on a website. Yeah.
Still?
Still,
Wow.
still exploring new markets. And I have to believe it's because of everything that the Colonel did while he was alive. I mean, there are very few places that are growing at that scale and have that type of name recognition and popularity and
For
goodwill.
sure. And good, yes. And it really is a lot, this iconic picture of the man, the Colonel. Like he is less creepy than Ronald McDonald, I will say.
Yeah, clowns.
Grandfatherly.
I used to want to be a clown when I grew up when I was little.
You did.
I can't speak negatively about clowns, but certainly a grandfatherly figure for a lot of people will portray better than a clown. Yes.
Hey, I'm not afraid of clowns, but I know there's a lot of people with that phobia. But anyway, it's important though, like that brand, just like Wendy's has, Wendy, the girl, as their icon, right? But and didn't the Colonel, is this true? I heard that the Colonel actually worked with Dave Thomas when he was founding Wendy's. Is that true?
Yes, and I believe that Dave Thomas actually helped to give the Colonel a lot of good advice as well during a pivotal time of their relationship. So that was certainly a wonderful two-way commercial and otherwise friendship between two potential rivals. If you kind of look at the fast food or quick service space, yeah.
Well, and I don't know if they had chicken sandwiches at what's it called at Wendy's at the time, but if they're next to each other and you just get hamburgers at Wendy's and chicken at KFC, then that's balance, right?
They're friendly enough, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now tell me more about the items that are at auction that you were talking about. That what's so mysterious about some of them?
Yes. So on July 28th, we will have a live and syndicated auction. So that means that we will have a captive audience in person at Claudia Sanders Dinner House of 400 people. And we will be syndicating globally around the world with people bidding in real time on these artifacts as well.
Hold on, people can bid if they're not here.
Absolutely. We will have them from Japan, Canada, Australia, South America. They're already registering and they will be watching what's going on in the room. They won't have the same level activity and energy that we will being there in person, but they will be with us virtually in spirit and bidding on the same items. And it's going to be an exciting night. I just know it.
That is really exciting. Now, I know we have some strong ties to Japan through the bourbon industry here in Louisville, especially, but across Kentucky. Is there a strong KFC connection as well? Like, do the Japanese like our fried chicken as much as they like our bourbon?
So I don't know if you're teeing me up for this answer or not,
Not.
but
I really want to know.
literally, Japan worships and celebrates the Colonel and KFC more than we do in the United States.
It.
Colonel Sanders, they will dress him up as Santa Claus as Christmas. They wait hours in line and make reservations to go between October and December. Google it. There is so much
Gonna do
information.
that.
It's wild. And I love that. I mean, as a Kentuckian, lifelong, born and bred, I really appreciate that. I think that it's wild. It's like, kind of those random things that happens and it's so sweet. One of the items that we do have in the auction is two photo albums from one of his original trips to Japan. He went to a wedding there. He was having dinner with geishas. He was at a little party in the park with kids. Again, kids. It's a remarkable thing, and I hope that the word is spreading there. We're working with a PR company, and they're keeping us apprised of everything that's happening. But Japan, and China and several other countries, we're not sure exactly how much this information is getting out through their media, just because there's a language barrier mostly with the alphabet. So it's more difficult to track, but I do know that there will be a lot of people who will be sad in that country if they're not aware of this and miss the auction.
Well, then I do hope that the people in Japan and China and everything get access to it,
I do.
because if they don't get it, then it's gonna be gone.
It
What
is
are some of
auction, so they are all selling to the highest bidder regardless of price. So, yes, they could be gone forever once this happens. And gone forever, I mean into museums, into private collections, when it could potentially have been in their collection.
right, their private collection. So now I think I saw that there are some recipes included in here. Are there some super, like, secret recipes included in this auction?
Potentially. As you mentioned during the introduction, part of what we have are some handwritten recipes that the Colonel had created. We also have some typewritten recipes. So it looks like he might have been in the process of working on a cookbook or editing it because it has some of his edits and scratch throughs through it. And again, going back, that's the part of history that's fun, that we have to connect some of these dots without having the person here to explain them to us. And of course, one of my favorite items is his day planner from 1956, where there are a lot of blank pages, but when he wasn't being lazy, there is a lot of information also in the book where he was traveling. You know, he was in Miami, he was in Raleigh for groundbreaking on a new restaurant. He was checking in on one in Chapel Hill. He was recording a jingle. He was in LA filming a show with somebody. So much is documented about his life, where he ate, how much he tipped, what he liked, collecting notes from out his travels, and also a recipe that has 11 herbs and spices and their measurements. It is not labeled. It does not say that it's for chicken. It does not say that it's for anything else. This was subject of a 2001 lawsuit when our client reached out to KFC. They said, "Hey, we found this book. It has this in the Colonel's handwriting. We're just curious if it might be the original recipe or not." So the next day, there were attorneys on my client's doorstep with about 3 inches thick of legal papers and says, "We need to take possession of that book." So they did. They sued for possession. Well, they walked back to KFC headquarters and they found the one person who can open the safe that contains the secret recipe. And they pulled it out and they compared it. And they came back and they said, "You know what? This is not the secret recipe. So you can have your book back." Now, that might be the case, but they left, they left a trail because they said, "We believe this is a stuffing recipe." And I tell you what, we've made that stuffing recipe and it'll make you gag.
No?
I'd say that I'd put my entire retirement on saying that it is not, in fact, a stuffing recipe. But I'm also not going so far as to say that it's the original recipe because only like probably 3 to 8 people in this entire world know, and they're under very tight NDA. And, if I'm thinking from a strategy perspective, which I often do, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm probably going to tell them that this is not the recipe because let's say that it is. And we sue them for possession and the judge doesn't agree with us, then it's out there.
It's just public knowledge, whatever it is.
But if we say that it's not, then they don't have a leg to stand on because nobody else knows except for those 3 to 8 people. So I do think that that was the better route to go, but no one will really ever know. I showed it to a New York Times writer who was in town interviewing us yesterday, and she said, "By God, I mean, that is very authentic, and I don't know what else it could be." But it is purely speculation. And I'm saying that, very much for legal purposes because, KFC is very protective of a secret recipe and a secret, in this brand. So I'm not trying to cross any lines with this, but we have it. We're looking at it, and
Somebody can bid on it, right?
yes, absolutely. It's selling to the highest bidder regardless of price.
Now, is the Claudia Sanders restaurant itself up for auction during this memorabilia sale as well?
It is. Yes. It is a sealed bid auction.
What
We
is
are
a sealed bid auction?
Sealed bid is where we put a property out for auction and we give a particular date and time. It's not a live bidding event that might have a reserve or no reserve, where once the reserve is met, it's going to sell for that price higher than that. This is where people submit their confidential offers to us. We open them at a particular day and time. We review them all. The seller has the ability to deny or to accept or to counter any and all offers. So nothing has to be accepted during that time. And this is a very defined period of time for a very important property. I mean, we have the historic house, we have a 25,000 square foot restaurant that has a 4,000 square foot kitchen inside of it. It is not an easy operation. We're using the memorabilia auction to bring awareness that the restaurant is also for sale, but it's also very likely that we might not receive any offers during that time. And if so, we'll continue to market it as a normal property. But it would be remiss of us while we're receiving all of this attention, especially from the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, not to let people know that the restaurant is also available for sale.
And the restaurant is active and serving people this whole time, right? The restaurant isn't closed, it's running, and this is like selling a business, right?
It is alive, it is well, and it is posting record numbers, not just because of this, but because they've added breakfast. And, I tell you, on Sunday, our client sent me a picture. It was standing room only in a place that seats 700 people. There was a line out the door waiting to be seated on Sunday. And whoever takes this on and makes this their passion project, I mean, there is so much upside to this. They have a gift shop inside of this place. So there is merch and merchandising opportunity. They have a bar on the second floor that has not been operational since just before COVID. So introducing an alcohol program to this, a quality one, could easily add 25 to up to 40% to the bottom line. And the best part about it is the IP is involved, the intellectual property. So you will gain access to claudiasanders.com and also the trademark of Claudia Sanders, along with all the rights that she assigned to the Settle family to use her name for any and all purposes. And the best purpose, in my opinion, would be the freezer section of Kroger and Publix and every other place to starting with the yeast rolls. That's where you want to start. Sister Schubert has nothing on these, and she has not had any competition in several decades. So please get Claudia Sanders yeast rolls into the freezer section, followed by the pies, the bread pudding, the cobbler, and then take all of the Colonel's recipes, which is all of their side items. Their most famous are the green beans with the ham and what is it, the creamed spinach. I mean,
Oh
if you get that ham and those green beans in a can and make that shelf stable, get that out there, that is the best thing you've ever had.
my gosh. Well, this vision just exploded exponentially in my brain. Wow. I know you've been working on this for years, but my gosh,
Yeah.
you're right. What an amazing business opportunity to
I know
really.
this place inside and out. I know the history inside and out. And I mean, I wish I could take it on. I can't upend my life like that and,
Mhm.
completely dedicate it to something like this. But for the person who can, or the billionaire who has the team to do it, or the visionary, this is a gold mine. There is so much opportunity here. It is untapped and it's just waiting for someone to take it and grow it and improve it and expand it.
This is so beautiful and exciting. I had no idea. Like,
Yeah,
when I took on this interview with you, I was like, I can't wait to hear about the history. But now I'm excited about the future that can be for Claudia Sanders and the new food explosion that is potentially like capable of happening if someone will take advantage of this opportunity.
it's all sitting right there.
My gosh. Wow. So, how did people find out about the sealed bid and all of that? Did they go to claudiasanders.com?
ClaudiaSandersAuction.com.
Okay.
If you go to ClaudiaSanders.com, that'll take you to the restaurant website
Mhm.
today. But we've created a brand new website just for the auction. It will give you everything you need to know about the memorabilia and the sealed bid auction and take you right to where you can see all of the items that we have for sale, including his knives, his pressure cooker, his watches, his money clips, his colonel certificate, the exact thing that made him a colonel. Like, there's a lot of people who might not know this. He
Yeah.
was in the military. I believe he was assigned to Cuba very early in, after leaving his house and up in Indiana. And he is not a military colonel. He is a Kentucky colonel. which is an honor bestowed upon you by the governor of Kentucky. He originally became a colonel in the 30s, but he didn't take the name. It kind of was more of a joke. He would
Mhm.
tell people that he was a colonel and they realized it wasn't military and it became funny. But as he started building Kentucky Fried Chicken and he had the white suit, his Florida suit, his black tie. The Florida suit served many purposes. Not only was it great in the summer because, it's linen and you get hot, but also you're working with flour all the time whenever you're cooking the chicken, so you
Mhm.
don't see it on the suit. And he was walking through the airport one time and somebody recognized him. They said, "Hey, there's the chicken man." I mean, probably not what he wanted to be called, but they
Right.
recognized him. They put the pieces together and he realized that this is his look. So, about this time, after he had his Colonel glow up, he adopted the name Colonel because he was a marketing mastermind. And this set him apart from everybody else. He is Colonel Sanders with Kentucky Fried Chicken with a secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices. And so, through all of this, it was memorialized again in the 90s by Governor Weatherby, who again made him a colonel. And we have that colonel certificate, the original one, which is post glow up, which is much more important than the original because now, in fact, he is a colonel.
Okay, well, this is more of a history lesson because I was thinking he was like the first Kentucky colonel. So that was going on a long time before.
Yes. And today, our governor awards about 5,500 new colonel certificates per year. People like Dolly Parton have received multiple colonel certificates. I myself am a Kentucky colonel. So, Colonel Klunk over here,
Okay, Colonel Clunk. I'm going to call you that if we go to dinner. I'm going to say,
I
I'm
hope you do.
Colonel Clunk over here.
I'll be disappointed if you don't.
Well, that tickles me. Okay, proceed.
So,
So,
yes, these are just some of the items that we have available. And honestly, we keep receiving them day after day from our clients. So we continue adding to what we have. Today, we received a record player from the second floor of the house that they did inherit with Blackwood Hall. Because as I mentioned, the colonel was moving out, my clients were moving in. Many, many things remained, always with the understanding that if they ever wanted to, they could come back and get anything that they've left, and they never got anything because they were downsizing. So we have all of this at our disposal. It has been a time capsule. It has been preserved in that house for 50 years. It has never before been seen by the public or exhibited anywhere. And in many instances, it was exactly where the colonel left it until just recently. So these are beautiful artifacts, not collected over time, preserved.
and there's a preview day that right before the auction, right? What day is that?
Yes. That's on Monday, the 20 from
Okay.
noon until 6, so you can come and take a look at everything we have available.
Okay. And then the auction is on the 28th.
The 28th, we're
Okay.
starting at 6 p.m. because we wanted to be cognizant of East Coast, West Coast, Japan,
Mhm.
international time zones so that everybody can be alive, alert, awake, and participate.
Do they need to register to join the auction virtually ahead of time so that they can bid on things? Or are people able to view it even if they're not going to bid on something?
Absolutely. You can view any of the auction items without registering to bid at claudiasandersauction.com. We do ask anybody who would like to attend in person or online to go ahead and register because we only have seating for 400 people. And right now, because of how many people are registering, it's becoming difficult for us to know who's going to be in person, who's not. So if you do come, please expect just a slight bit of chaos. And that's not because of under preparation, but it's because that the response has been so outsized that we just don't know. And we're not Sotheby's where we're screening everybody before they come in. So we're just trying to make sure that people who are interested and who would like to bid on items are in the seats. And anybody else who cannot make it to join us has access remotely so that they can see them and enjoy them and bid on them as well.
That is awesome. I'm so excited for this. So I will be putting the links to join the Claudia Sanders auction.com virtually in the show notes below. So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple or watching on YouTube, check the show notes for that link in case you have trouble spelling Claudia Sanders auction.com or if you just don't feel like it and you want to click on it, that's fine too. And then, is there a way for people to follow them on social media as well?
Claudia Sanders? Well, interesting you should say that. I think they're on Facebook, but all of the success that this restaurant has had has been with literally no marketing.
Okay.
So, whoever steps into this role and wants to create video content, who wants to build out a social presence, even just start doing a little bit of marketing, can also help explode what has already been put in place through all of these decades of goodwill and brand ambassadorship. So, that's just another layer. I mean, you talk about going to the freezer section. Step one
Mhm.
might be just light marketing and social media. Step two, freezer section.
Give Sister Schubert a run for her money, you said. I like
Please.
please. Hey, I'm all for a baking contest from the freezer section. I can handle that. So,
She has just been on an island of her own for too long. The next up is gonna be, who is it that has all the pies in there? Oh,
but
it's green.
not Betty Crocker.
No, she's the powdered,
Is it
you gotta add eggs and make that stuff.
that's right. You add an egg and then you're a cook. Is it Martha White? No, that's the flour.
I
What am I thinking?
Marie Colander, I mean, she
Yes,
does
Marie.
the lasagnas more.
Mhm.
Who's the dessert lady? It's got the pies, it's the green box. Drawing a blank, but watch out, whatever
Yeah.
your name is.
Claudia Sanders might be coming for you with the new owner, so
Yes, she is.
all right. Well,
You should try that
Jonathan,
bread pudding.
for reals. Yeah, that's a Kentucky classic right there. All
Yeah.
right. So, for our listeners, if you've enjoyed this episode of the Lou Review podcast, be sure to like and subscribe so you can hear the next time we get to hear from the people who are making Louisville, Kentucky, and our general area a great place to be. And I will see you in the next episode.